Hello viewers, well it's time to finally take a look at the Fanatec GT DD Pro. Direct drive in the palm of your hands, direct drive power, direct drive affordability. It's the first time that we're getting direct drive for everyone. We had the CSL earlier this year for Xbox users, and now we have for PlayStation users direct drive for you too. Let's take a look at the unboxing, a bit of gameplay, a bit of feedback, and a bit of my feedback, and ultimately telling you my opinions on the wheel and what I think of it overall. But let's kick off with the unboxing, see what it's all about. And so on to the unboxing. There is the box, the DD Pro wheel. Always nice to have a good look around the box, a good fondle. I was considering a different style of video for this kind of unboxing, but no, we're going to stick it in the tried and tested method of keeping it pretty standard. I haven't gone into great detail on this, as many videos have covered it before, but just going through a quick overview. We've got the boost kit, and of course we have the load cell pedal as well. So we'll take a quick look at some bits and pieces that we have here. But let's crack on with the unboxing of the DD Pro. Nice little message there always from Fanatec, but not what it used to be. And of course we have the stickers and the instructions, which are very basic. Well, first we get stuck in there, we open the box with the bits and pieces, the cables you'll need, various screws, and the bolt piece as well for screwing to a table. We have the wheel itself. There we are, just getting in there. Nice tight packaging, and there it is. There it is, a nice look at the DD Pro wheel, and doesn't it look lovely? Very nice. So I feel it, and my first feelings are, oh, that rubber's quite unusual. That's an unusual rubber. So I rub my hand round, and I figure, you know, that's an unusual rubber on the rim. But we're going to continue, and we're going to take a look at that in more detail later. So moving on then into the base, and there's bits and pieces to get out there. The table clamp thingy. There we are, part one. Another piece of the table clamp thingy there. It's a bit unusual, that one. Look at that. Unusual. There we are. Very nice. I now use that for another purpose. And of course we have the power supply for the 5 Nm 5 Newton meters of torque. Then you have the base itself. This one's a bit stuck in here, using my big man hands to get it out there. Thor's hammer. There it is. The hammer of goodness. We're going to come back to that in a moment. And then of course getting to the bottom of the box, silica gel, out you go, and the pedals. There they are. Lovely. And then it's an empty box. So there we are. That's the unboxing. So we have the pedals. Have a little squeeze on those. Lovely. Then we have the table clamp that's unusual. The other bits and pieces. And we're ready. Let's space it out nicely. There we are. And the base. There we are. The base. The Thor's hammer. Let's get that out. And that is a weighty business that we see there. There it is. Lovely. Look at that. Solid as a rock. Quite weighty. I have to say, I don't know what it weighs. I didn't look before making this video, but it is quite weighty. You could use that as a weight if you wanted to. If you wanted a very expensive weight. So there we are. Look at that. Oh, I do like a look at a new wheel. That fresh new feeling there of a brand new product, and the various cable connections on the back. Let's have a look at the rim now. So, you know, I had some first impressions when I first, hold it. You know, the buttons are, within reach of the thumbs. It feels quite small. The rubber on the outside is very similar to, I've only ever come across it once, and that was on the Xbox 360 official steering wheel many years ago. Yes, that one, the white one. And you'll see a little clip probably as I'm talking. And now I have a little fondle just of the sticks of the buttons. See what that's all about, how my thumbs reach it. I look at the back and I say, oh, there's the connecting there. It's the modern screw-on connectors, very, very handy. And the paddles, quite small. They are made of plastic paddles. I like to have a little clickety-click with them. So feel the weight, feel the solidity, feel the design, feel the buttons. I have some opinions in the back of my head, but I'm thinking, no, I won't push those just yet. I will test the wheel and see it in motion once I've done everything. But I really like to have a good feel, and I wanted to share that here if you haven't seen it before properly. I see so many videos where it's just there being used, but you never really get a good look at it. So I just wanted to feel it myself and say, right, that's it. So that's a look at the wheel. Then I wanted to have a quick look at the pedals, and again, quite weighty. I don't think I was able to squeeze it with my hand. The brake pedal is very tough, the brake, so the brake required quite a bit of pressure, and everything there looked, you know, as soon as you get that out, you say, look at that, that's a solid piece of kit right there. Metal construction, proper Fanatec gear. Then we've got the boost kit, which, as you might expect, is a power supply. That's what that is. Gives the wheel more power and gives you the 8 Newton meters of torque, which basically makes all the difference. I'm going to say it already, it's an essential purchase for this wheel. Then we have the load cell brake, which I won't be testing in this video. That'll be for another day. But either way, there it is, the load cell brake, which I've tried a load cell before. And I have to admit, I don't get on as well with it. Some sim racers swear by them. I'm not somebody who's necessarily gotten as well with them, but unpackaged, have a little look at that, and it's got very high levels of pressure on it at the moment. You really put it on the floor and squeeze it down. It requires an awful lot of pressure with the setting that it has. I would loosen that a bit somewhat. I do like a little bit of travel, but obviously you need some resistance as well. Very different because I'm using socks rather than shoes. I also wanted to show you how it screws on to your platform. I'm not screwing it to a table, so I'm putting it onto my rig, so you can slide these screw thingies, and slide them to wherever the holes are on your device. You can put 4 of them in if you want to. You know, that's the setup I've got. The 3 screws that are there, and then my plate. Well, the screws were in a slightly different place to the standard Club Sport base, so I had to file some extra holes here and there on my drill a couple of holes and file extra holes onto my rig. But there we are, it actually all goes on once it's all lined up, and you can see there some of my amazing metalwork skills where I've had to just file a bigger hole. There we are, lovely. So it fits on now, and we're ready to do some racing. So we jump on to a bit of racing, and what's the first thing you're going to do when you jump on to your new Gran Turismo DD Pro? Well, you're going to be playing some Gran Turismo GT Sport and GT7. So for me, I picked tracks that I know very, very well, tracks I've done hundreds of laps on, the only few tracks where I can barely remember the braking points. And of course, we're kicking off here with a bit of from a stream. This footage was a bit of Gran Turismo, testing out the rim on the base. I'm using my standard pedals, Elite pedals, which I love these pedals. So I'm not testing the pedal set in this video, but I do have opinions on them which are not entirely positive. So we're going to come back to that. We've got a couple of negatives to come on this wheel. Anyway, we're driving along, and the first thing you'll notice are, wow, we're using a direct drive. And direct drive, it's an instant feeling. It makes the track feel like it's laser scanned. There's so much detail you're getting from the surface, so much immediacy with the bumps. I'm really getting lots of detail. You know, I've made videos over the years where I talk about, you know, people think having a good wheel makes you a faster driver, and in generally it doesn't really make that much difference. If you're a quick driver, you'll make magic happen. However, the additional detail I'm feeling with this wheel really gives me some detail that helps me as a driver, and I've enjoyed that, and I feel that it's something which can aid you as a driver as well. So I do think getting the settings right is going to be absolutely key, but at the same time you want to go on there and get that detail, and you can get 2 things from this wheel. You can get resistance, so you're turning into a corner and you feel the bite of the tyre grip in the tarmac. That's a relentless resistance, or at least until the tyres break traction. In the past, wheels had a certain amount of resistance before they didn't have any more, but direct drive can just keep going and going and going. But where the direct drive makes a big difference is in the small details, the little bumps, the little bits and pieces around the circuit, the instant feedback that you require, and immediately you notice that. Now with the 8 Newton meters versus 5 Newton meters, you don't really get the same hit with 5 Newton meters that you get with 8, and it immediately made me realize that it's just, for me, there's little point in using it. I suppose if I was using it with 5 Newton meters, the standard that comes with it, I wouldn't really notice much of a difference with it above the other wheels and the Elite base I've been using, which is a great wheel base anyway. So I think you need the 8 Newton meters of torque to be able to give you the extra detail, the extra resistance, but without requiring the podium wheel style of breaking your arms off when you crash off the track, because let's face it, not all of us need that kind of risk reward when we're doing a sim racing game. So there we are, keep your arms but get the resistance and get the fun from driving around. On Gran Turismo it felt very nice, got me in the zone, and immediately I was away on driving the wheel. The wheel itself, having a drive with it at this stage, very small. It's a very small rim, almost childlike in size to an extent. It's a much smaller rim than I was expecting. Lights on it are nice, display's nice. The lights are nice because they don't blind me, unlike some of the other lights and various rims I've used over the years. You may and may not have seen, but I've had to cover the lights in some way to dull them down, but not so here. They're sort of opaque enough whereby they don't blind me every time I'm going around and doing a few laps. So Gran Turismo wheel feels really nice, and I'm happy with everything so far, but I'm not entirely happy with the rim. We're going to talk about that in terms of pros and cons in a moment. Let's crack on, continue testing the wheelbase onto WRC. So onto WRC then, and the first thing I do is I take off the Gran Turismo wheelbase and I put that away, and I don't use it again unless I have to, because the WRC wheelbase is a really good multi-purpose rim, all round a great rim to use it on just about any racing car, any style. It's a good size. It has a good light feel to it. It's ergonomic around your hands. It's a classic style built, designed on their P1 rim, and it works perfectly. This is a highly recommended rim. If you haven't used the WRC rim, check it out. It is far and away one of the best Fanatec have ever made. Great material as well, and it's taken a lot of wear and tear. Goodness knows I've done a lot of hours of driving on it over the past 6-7 months, or even longer. I can't remember how long now, probably best part of a year, and it's been hammered, and the material is holding on very well. So great rim. I'm using higher levels of force feedback than I was ever using before. It's holding together really well. It's giving me good resistance. I feel like it can make me a quicker driver, quite potentially, and so I was enjoying it immensely. So adding that on there, WRC running on the PlayStation 5 in the standard PlayStation 5 mode, which brings me on to modes. So you have different modes. You've got PC mode and PlayStation mode, PS5 mode. You've got a PS4 compatibility mode, PC compatibility mode. What are these? This is where a game may not immediately recognize the wheel. So you might have a game such as Dirt Rally, where I had to go into a compatibility mode, and of course this wheel didn't exist back when Dirt Rally 2 was released. So we had to go into a compatibility mode and set the wheel up. And again, I did all of this on a stream and set the wheel up, got it working, and it worked really, really well. So good thing is that managed to get the wheel set up. Compatibility mode works well, and I also used the compatibility mode on the PC on Grid Legends. Now on Grid Legends, on a demo we've been using recently to show you guys some early clips of the game, obviously the wheel implementation isn't fully in the game yet. So I set up the compatibility mode, and it picked up on the wheel, and away we go from there. So good stuff on the wheel in terms of how it works, and the compatibility mode, that all works really well. I've now integrated it with my handbrake as well, and I'm very happy that the handbrake connects to the wheelbase, and of course that means I can use the handbrake now on my console as well as on the PC version, which is great. I've not been able to do that before. Up until now, when I play console, I've had to use a button on the wheel, and it's just not the same. So very happy with that. I've enjoyed everything I've done in testing that, put a lot of hours in, and also tested it on Dirt 5 as well, for no reason other than I just wanted to feel what different force feedback felt in different games. Now, force feedback is very powerful. If you want to wrestle your wheel and grow massive muscles, you can. If you don't want to wrestle your wheel and grow massive muscles, then you can just tone it down a bit like me. Now, obviously, I have massive muscles anyway, so I didn't need to grow more doing my driving. But if I wanted to, the option is there. But for now, I just want to enjoy my driving. Now, why do I turn down the force feedback? Well, I want to be able to turn to a point. So if I want to turn my steering wheel to 10 o'clock position, I need to do that. If there is a resistance, that means I don't quite get it there. You know, I get to 11 o'clock and then I hit a bunch of resistance and I can't turn the wheel exactly where I want to at a time. That's no good for me. I need to feel the track surface without the wheel being able to completely resist my commands to go exactly where I need that wheel to be at that time. So I have a force feedback with a little bit of looseness. Now that brings us on to another thing as well. When you're using WRC10 or and some other games, I think it was also Dirt Rally 2, there is a dampening on the wheel, NPR setting, which I wasn't familiar with. Very important to set your NPR lower so that the standard damping on the wheel isn't there to cause too much resistance. So when I was first using the wheel, that resistance was preventing me at turning the wheel with the fluidity and speed I required. Once I removed that, I was able to get a lot more control, and I reduced it from 50 down to 10 in the settings, and I got a setting where there is still weight in turning the wheel as if the wheels are on the tarmac connected to the car. At the same time, I don't need to be muscle man to be able to achieve it. So there we are. That's the little things in there. Now some of you are going to ask my settings, and I will provide the settings at some point, probably on another video, probably on one of my this week streaming videos, so keep an eye on those. Once I've dialed in all my settings, I will share them there probably in the next week or two and give you guys an idea on that. So we've had a good look now at the wheel, the unboxing. We've done a serious amount of testing. Let's talk about some of the issues I'm not happy with on the rim. Okay, so when I'm looking at the Thrustmaster and the Fanatec Gran Turismo rims side by side, I think it's fair to say that these two rims are designed more by polyphony than just by the steering wheel company themselves. The rim, the Gran Turismo rim from Fanatec's, from a perspective of a Fanatec wheel, is not for me up to the usual standard of Fanatec rims. The paddles on the back are plastic. That was a surprise in the unboxing. The rubber on the outside feels more, doesn't feel as premium, so it is obviously a heavy duty. The paddles on the back are also quite small. They don't reach up as high as I would like in terms of where my fingers are placed. The support through the middle of the wheel is very thick. Now this moves hand placement and finger placement is a little bit uncomfortable in my eyes. They've reduced a full-size steering wheel down to a much smaller level, and it was never designed to be held in this way. So it's basically, this is a full-size wheel, if you like, and I can't help but say that it reminds me of a Kia. It genuinely does remind me of a Kia, and if I have a photograph of a Kia, I'll share it. In which case your hands would be at the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock positions on a wheel like this, rather than the traditional at the sides racing holding point of view. So it's a small wheel. That way when I was turning my rotation, I didn't feel as comfortable with it. I just felt it was a little bit too small for me, which means that to get the most out of this rim, I would feel the need to reduce my rotation considerably to get to the point where I was comfortable. The next thing is we have these new sticks for the different colors to control your fuel, engine mode, and your braking, bias and traction control, stuff like that in Gran Turismo. These are higher than the R2 and L2 buttons. This means that you can't reach the L2 and R2 with your thumb, because if you do, the chances are that you're going to press them. The chances are very high, in fact, that you're going to press one of the sticks by accident, because the sticks are higher than those buttons. So really, it would have been better to have had these the other way around. Instead, you're having to take a hand off the wheel to press the button. This is impractical, and this is, for me, ergonomically not good design. So I wasn't feeling comfortable with my finger placement, with the gear placement, or with the stick placement on the wheel. And in terms of the wheel and solidity and design, it's very plasticky. Now, you can't help but look at this, but look at the Thrustmaster one as well. The Thrustmaster wheel, on the whole, it felt better with the slightly slimmer components around the rim. But what I didn't like on the Thrustmaster wheel, which is one of the reasons why I didn't use it very often, was the edging material. They used some kind of nylon to stitch it together on the inside and the back of the wheel. And for whatever reason, for the way I hold the wheel, it caused blisters on my hands when I used it. So I had to put insulating tape over the wheel to cover those elements, and generally it wasn't that comfortable. What I did like about it was I did like the wheels that were on there for being able to turn these dials to where you'd like them to be, and it is a form of rotating dial on the game. So I like that. I thought overall it was a nice enough solidity to it, and I can see why they've made some changes that they have. And I would say, looking at the Fanatec one, it looks better in many ways, but it's a strange design, and it's the sooner I could get this off the base and put on the WRC or the Formula the Formula rim, the better, because it really just didn't work for me, and I just didn't get a feel for it. So in terms of the rim, this is for me one of the weakest parts of the whole base. But if you are a Gran Turismo player, then it's essential that you learn how to use this rim, because this rim is going to be what they're going to use at esports tournaments. It's what Polyphony have designed. It's just, I think, a shame that ergonomically speaking, at least from my hands, it doesn't feel big enough. It doesn't feel, the pillar in the middle of the wheel is too thick, and it just doesn't feel terribly well designed. So it's style over practicality in almost every way on this wheel, and it is something that I feel would need a redesign. So not entirely happy with the wheel. When it comes to the pedals, I have some other criticisms to add to the pedals. Firstly, you look at these pedals and you say, wow, look at that solid metal build quality. These are the typical fantastic pedals that we like to see from Fanatec, and yet there is an issue. Once I sat down and I decided I'm going to have a little muck around with these pedals, positioning my feet and just having a feel, I immediately came up with a problem on them. Firstly, it's all metal except for the actual pads themselves that your feet are on. These are plastic. There's no feeling to that plastic. There's no grip. There's no texture. But there is a massive indented F, and that is so indented that my sock, which I wear socks when I do sim racing, gets caught on it. Now if you press your two fingers down on that F and you try to push it forward, you'll see that you'll soon get blisters on your feet with something like this. It really isn't terribly comfortable to use. In fact, very, very uncomfortable on my feet. I wasn't at all keen on it. Now, I say this as somebody who has a very particular, I like a smoothish pedal. I like a pedal with a consistent feeling on it. So on my CSL pedals, I remove the rubber grip on the accelerator, but not on the brake, because with the brake, I'm punching the brake essentially. With the accelerator, I like to slide my foot over it a little bit, gives me a feeling of where the power is, and getting quite precise through the corners, through to the exits. So for me, I don't like these pads that are on here. I really do I hope that Fanatec release another type of pad that you can put on there. At the moment, that for me is a big detraction. The next thing is the accelerator is so narrow. Now that might be fine if you're wearing shoes, but if you're not wearing shoes, I mean, it's barely as wide as my big toe. I probably won't do a big toe comparison as I'm reading this before making the video, but I'm probably not going to. But it's I have big feet, and I can tell you right now, this is nearly a third as wide as my foot. It's very narrow. I don't know why we've got a nice fat brake pedal, a very narrow accelerator here for use of a product in this way. So very unusual on the pedals. For me, a couple of changes really. I would provide another type of brake pad option to go on there, and accelerator pad for the footrest to go on there. That's something I would look at straight away. And for the wheel, personally, I just feel it is what it is with Gran Turismo. Nothing to do with Fanatec as such. That's what Gran Turismo want. It's what they want, but it's not one for me. So there we have a look at the core components. So I guess really we've got to round up and talk a bit about the wheel now. Now we've seen all of that. So the Fanatec Gran Turismo DD Pro and the CSL DD are fantastic wheels, and for the price of what you're getting, it's amazing. We're getting top level, top tier technology at a reasonable price. This is the best you're going to get aside from professional level. We have come so far in racing wheels, and goodness knows I've tested tons of wheels over the years, literally lots and lots, from an elastic band holding the wheel in place on my Mad Cats in the 90s, to no resistance at all on my Thrustmaster back years ago that had no pedals either, to gradually getting better. The Xbox 360 wheel was the start, and from there I guess there was a couple in the late 90s, a Microsoft Sidewinder wheel, Cytec had a wheel, but we're going way back there. In terms of the current development, you had the G25, the Microsoft wheel, and we're looking at a bit of G25 as well, no doubt. And then of course you had the battle between Fanatec and Thrustmaster, bringing things forward to this point. But now we're at the future. Now we're at direct drive, an ultimate level of detail. As far as I'm concerned with this wheel, if you're going to buy it with the 8 Newton meters of torque. If you're not going to buy the 8 Newton meters of torque and you already have a wheel, it might not be worth upgrading. If you don't have a wheel and you just want to get this for now, and get the 8 Newton meters later, you won't be sorry when you get the 8 Newton meters. It really does make that bit of difference that makes it all worthwhile. You're literally getting the most out of the product in your hand. I've been using a lot of resistance on this wheel. It's been feeling very comfortable. It's not been getting hot and making lots of noise. Silent in usage, works really well, and it's relentless. We'll see how long it continues that way. I'll be giving it a good old battering over the year ahead, and it'll have thousands of hours of driving as well. So look forward to that. And it works perfectly with the Fanatec gear I already have. As I say, the handbrake pedals, everything has worked seamlessly. A note also has to go to the software, which has seen serious updates in recent times. Fanatec software has come a long way. It's very easy to set up. Once you get it drilled on, set up on your rig, it's very straightforward, and Fanatec provide the software on the website, download it, and it sorts itself out along the way with all the direct instructions to get it going. We are a long way from where we were 10 years ago, I can tell you. Updating your software 10 years ago was a scary business. It's not now. It sorts itself out. So that's it for a look on this wheel, the Gran Turismo DD Pro. It's an excellent wheel. I would say the only weakness, as I reach down here and I say it here, the only weakness for me really is this. It's really, there are lots of things where I wish, however ergonomically designed this was, they'd spoken to other gamers to got a bit of feedback in terms of designing a good racing wheel. This for me is not one I will use unless I absolutely have to. I will use it on streams, I will use it on Gran Turismo now and again, and I will continue to review my opinion. Maybe I've got it wrong, maybe it's brilliant, maybe I just haven't noticed, but there we are. So that's it from me. Do pop your questions and your feedback in the comments below. and I look forward to receiving some of those and coming back as well on your comments chat on some of this at some point. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon. Hello viewers, well thanks for watching the video today. Do like and subscribe, it supports what we do. Do become a YouTube member. YouTube Patreon supports all of our content you see on the channel, and of course lots of gaming from retro to modern games. I love it all in terms of racing action. So click on one of the two videos just there to find out more.